hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay, and this is going to be a general weekly reading for the week of April 30th through May 4th. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? I hope you're all doing well. Just want to welcome everybody back. If you are a repeat viewer or a returning viewer, thanks so much for coming today and viewing this video. If you're new to the channel, welcome to you as well. What we're going to do is we're going to have a general overview, well, not general overview, but a general reading, no signs specifically associated with these weekly readings that are going to deal with your finances, foundations, and career. In the second row, you're going to find love and relationships, and at the top row, you're going to find messages regarding health and wellness, and just a general overview for the week. Please check the description box below for timestamps for any particular area. If you care more about health and wellness, you'll find that timestamp in the box below. And you'll also find information down there if you're interested in doing private readings with me, and you'll find information on how to set that up. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started, everybody. I've gone ahead and I've shuffled off camera after a meditation. Save a little bit of time with these videos when I do that. So what we'll do now is we'll reveal each of the face down cards. And then I will read each section, starting with finances, foundations, and careers. And we will go upwards from there. Okay. Alright, so we're going to start here at the bottom with finances, foundations, and careers. And first message out is somebody's not a loss, but somebody's like coming out of like the phrasing that comes to mind is a weird depression, weird quotations around weird depression. And the feeling that I get with it is like it's a weird depression because it's like not really explicable, you know? It's like because in terms of, let's say it's a business, or let's say it's even your job, right? You may have wanted something with the Nine of Cups. Oh, I didn't even introduce the cards. I'm sorry. So you have Nine of Cups reversed. That's your first card out. You also have Four of Cups here, and you have the Princess of Wands. So when you come in as the Nine of Cups reversed. So Nine of Cups is talking about dreams and wishes come true, right? But it's in reverse. So there's a slight disappointment here. And the reason that I got the feeling of weird, I believe, would be because it's not so detrimental. It's not such a setback that you'll have to sort of reevaluate everything that you're doing, or you'll have to, you know, completely scrap a project or scrap an idea. I mean, you might have to, but it doesn't, like, whatever this disappointment is, whatever this setback is, it's not going to uproot everything. It's not going to turn everything on its head. It's not going to equal failure. It might equal a temporary feeling of failure. Like maybe you had a certain goal and you were hoping to, especially in the realm of the workplace, maybe there's a certain goal that you set for yourself, or that was set for your department, or however it falls, and you're just not going to meet that goal. You're not going to meet that expectation. So you might not get a bonus that you thought you were going to get. You might not be eligible for a certain award, you know, within your company and things like this. So you're still employed. You're still going to be able to keep yourself afloat financially. You're still going to, you know, and it's not as if missing the goal means you didn't do anything. It would just mean that you may have missed the goal by like a hair, but by a small margin, or a small percentage, or a small dollar amount, whatever it is. And that's disappointing, right? And the Four of Cups would come in as a reminder of silver linings, right? This is not like the traditional Rider-Waite Four Cups where someone's sitting under a tree and they've got three in front of them, and then the divine or the universe or God, or however you'd like to think of it, comes along and offers a fourth cup. All four of these cups are there. All four of these chances or opportunities, or I suppose in a way a possession, you know, like something of value is still present in this situation, but some of you out there are just not going to sort of be grateful. And I think it's not that you, and that might be the wrong word. I don't even think it's like you're not grateful. I think it's just like this Nine of Cups overshadows what you already have, what you've established for yourself with the Four of Cups. So because you're disappointed that you didn't make a certain goal, that you haven't saved a certain amount of money, maybe with starting a business, you didn't open by a certain date, or your soft open wasn't as successful as you thought it would be, things like this. These temporary setbacks, or these blips on the totality of what you're dealing with, kind of overshadows, well, you still are going to be able, like I said, you still made part of your goal. You still brought in an amazing amount of sales for your company or your department, whatever it is. You still have the business. You still, even though the soft open wasn't as successful as you may have hoped it to be, you still have a business. It's still flourishing. And that's hard to do for any new business. You know what I mean? It's just, maybe some of you had really, not even really, but some of you had high hopes, and some of you had high expectations, or you really thought you were going to like have a home run. And instead of a home run, you landed a triple. You know what I mean? So you didn't make it all the way to home. You didn't get to, you know, round the bases and wave to the crowd, but you did land to third. So you're just one base away from having a scoring run. You know what I mean? So these two cards, I feel, are very temporary within the week or thereabouts. And the reason I say that is because you have the Princess of Wands on the far end here. And the Princess of Wands would be equivalent to the Page of Wands in traditional Rider-Waite decks. And even though this would be an immature energy, immature as in just like not polished, not as refined as the King or the Queen, not as focused or as driven, or I should say goal-oriented, or have a pretty set goal like the Prince of Wands would. The Princess of Wands still has that determination, right? Look at the face this woman is making. She's just like, what she doesn't have in terms of experience, or what she doesn't have in terms of refinement, she makes up for in her passion, in her spirit behind what she's going to do. So this setback that you're experiencing here, you're going to rally from that, and you're just going to not turn over a new leaf, but you're going to get back to business. You know what I mean? You're not going to let this, like I said, temporary setback, it's not going to destroy you. It's not going to, you know, take you down. It's not going to make such an upheaval in your life that you just can't recover from it. There's this idea of recovery happening here. I think here there was like this golden ring that someone was reaching for, this amazing opportunity or this incredible goal that somebody was like, yes, this is what I want. This is what I want. Or this is what I'm going to have. Not even what I want. This is what I'm going to have. Like a lot of, you know, maybe some positive self-talk was involved here. I'm going to get that bonus. I'm going to hit that sales goal. I'm going to have an amazing opening for my business. And then you know, were shy of the mark. And then you end up, oh man, you know, you're a little forlorn. You're a little like downtrodden, a little, like I said, weirdly depressed. Again, whatever happened that you didn't obtain, whatever goal that you didn't make, it wasn't a failure. People are still saying, hey, wasn't that great? You did a great job. Or, oh, you know, if it was a competition within your workplace. I know some places have competitions, and not necessarily competitions that have to do with work, but like, let's say it's a, what do you call those? Like those Fitbit, you know, health monitoring type of devices. A lot of companies have like competitions. Which of our employees can walk the most steps within the month of April? So maybe the results came in and maybe you were second place. That's nothing to be ashamed of. You came very close to winning the whole thing. And maybe there's a second place prize. You wanted the first place prize, whatever it is, but you get the second place prize. So somebody out there is just kind of kicking themselves because they didn't get first place. You didn't get everything that you thought you were going to, that you kind of, you know, built yourself up with self-talk. And that's okay. I mean, we all can't win all the time. That's the reality of the situation. You can't win all the time. And the other reality of the situation is that if you have the potential to tap into this Princess of Wands energy and kind of be like, you know what, I'm being a little silly. It's okay. I did my best, and I actually did pretty well considering if I came in second place out of, let's say, 80 employees or something like that. That's pretty amazing. I shouldn't really beat myself up about that. So whatever is going on in terms of finances, your career, any other type of foundation that you have in your life where you've had this momentary setback, you're going to get out of that. You're just going to push through it in some kind of way. And it really comes with kind of reminding yourself of why you were doing that in the first place. Because obviously, for most of us, when we have those goals, it's just not because we want the reward. Many of us want to challenge ourselves. We want to push ourselves past our limits. So it's not only about the external reward that you get, the gift card, the bonus, the extra time off from work, whatever is on the line, you know, whether it's actual dollars and cents or prizes or gifts, a lot of it is how you feel about yourself. It makes you feel good. And the Princess of Wands is definitely in the realm, in the business of wanting to feel good, to feel accomplished, to feel as if whatever she's put her effort towards has been a noble cause. It's been an enlightening cause. It's been something that has given her pleasure and satisfaction, but then also has been stimulating in terms of challenge, in terms of growth. So if you remind yourself of that, you'll push right through it, okay? Let's move up to the second row and go into love and relationships. You have the Six of Cups, Two of Cups, and the Moon in reverse. So somebody's in love. Plain and simple. Somebody is feeling very amorous. They're feeling very, very emotional towards another person. But it may have been shrouded in secrecy. And I did say have been. So within this week, there might be some light shed on this love situation. Let's start out. We got Six of Cups on the far left side here. Six of Cups. So traditional Rider-Waite talks about this being a card of nostalgia, a card of reminding you of childhood or about childhood sweethearts, things like this. And I don't deny that that's a possibility. I don't necessarily buy into when you have the Six of Cups, it's saying that your high school sweetheart is just going to roll into town out of the blue and declare their love for you or you for them. I don't think it's always that. But it is a possibility. What I think it's more talking about, especially now, because I feel there's some newness with the Two of Cups. I feel that some of you have met someone recently and they remind you of someone from the past, or they remind you of who you were in the past. Like, not that they remind, like, you're like, oh my God, you remind me of me when I was little. Not like that, but more of like a, at some point in your life earlier, you used to feel a certain way about love and relationships. Maybe you were more hopeful. Maybe you were more enthusiastic, more passionate, more grounded, more interested in sex for some of you, more interested in romance for some of you. Things like that. That's what the Six of Cups is saying. You've met someone, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a new someone, but I feel it's mostly a new someone, like within the last couple of months, maybe even a little bit into the end of 2017 for some of you, but mostly it's going to be new, like within the first quarter of 2018. And this feeling is that not necessarily innocent, not necessarily that you were innocent when you were younger, but that enthusiasm, hopeful, expanded, like all the doors are open. Like that's what this is feeling like. Some of you are feeling adored. Like she looks a little aloof, the woman in the car, she looks a little like whatever about it. But in actuality, I think that she knows that the man kissing her or whatever he's doing, whispering in her ear, whatever, adores her. And I think that that's kind of how some of you feel. You're like, oh man, this person really likes me. And maybe that's why she looks so aloof. Maybe some of you are like, how do I feel about them? Like, they really like me. I feel a connection, but is it for real? And this card, as you see, is a little like gray and bluish in tone. So there might be some kind of like mystery about it. Something's not fully revealed yet. But the core of it, what comes in the middle, what links the two far sides of the row together, is the Two of Cups. Now, traditional Rider-Waite says this is a soulmate card, or is the soulmate card, however you want to think about it. And I don't deny that in this deck, in the Cosmic Tarot deck. I don't deny that. I think it's definitely This is like one of those like old school like kisses from like a old, hold on. Go ahead and focus. There we go. One of these kisses from like a, like an old school Hollywood movie, like from the 40s or the 50s, like, oh God, what's the guy's name? Like Clark Gable or something. He's like reeling the woman in and he's just gonna kiss her whether she wants it or not. Today, we would have issues of consent about that. But in those classic movies, it was a wonderful move, wasn't it? So that's sort of what this is. Someone has come into your life and you feel this potential to have like this epic romance. Like, I put this card down too soon, but let me show it to you again. Like this card is just adorned with flowers and roses, and there's this gradient color scheme going from this dark, just black, and it's coming down to this lovely golden yellow hue with the two cups, and it looks like light is emanating from those cups. So it's like this whole idea of coming out of the shadows, coming out of the darkness, coming to possibly some kind of realization or some emotional crescendo. Like within this week, there's this potential for there to be like a break in the dam. Like maybe someone has like walled up their emotions or kind of put them off to the side or tried to ignore them, tried to be like, I don't know. And then eventually, if a dam is not built properly, the pressure of the built-in water, in this case emotions, that's been walled up and it's been swelling and it's been increasing, eventually the dam will break and the emotions will just pour out. Just, you know? And this all kind of fits because you have that, like I said, the Six of Cups is, you recognize that this person is special to you. You recognize that there's some kind of adoration from them that comes towards you. You like see it. You see them and you're like, oh, I know that you like me. And I like you too. But there's like this idea of still what's going on here because of the color scheme there and the aloofness of the female in the card. It's just like you recognize it, but you can't really articulate what it is. And then there's this potential to hit the realization that this is a Two of Cups situation. Like, oh my God, you're a soulmate to me, or you're someone of significance to me. If it's not a soulmate in the hallmarky way of talking about soulmates, it's just someone who you have a profound connection with and you are kind of blown away by it. That's another way of saying soulmate, but not using that key term, which, you know, I feel can be kind of a trigger word when we're talking about tarot. Like, people want to go crazy over the word soulmate. But that's just my little 2 cents there. But whatever. It's still this, like, gradually explosive or gradually, it's like gradual pressure is building and building and building. And there's just going to be this tipping point between you and this person. It might come out just like this. Like Clark Gable style, somebody grips somebody else up and plants one on their lips, and that's the end of it, or the beginning of it, or however you want to think of it. But like that's what I mean. It's like it goes from like this reflective, what's going on here, to bang, that's what's going on here. We're sucking face. And I'm sorry, that's not very eloquent. I'm sorry. We are sharing a passionate kiss. So it's like this, it's like a great move from what's going on? I can't see clearly what's happening here to, oh, this is what's happening. This is what's happening. We're making out now and we're like ripping each other's clothes off and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So if this is your situation, kudos to you. Now, the reason all of that is happening because you have the moon in reverse. Now, moon upright in the Rider-Waite deck and in this deck would talk to elements of confusion, elements of illusion. It's a sign, it's the card associated with the sign of Pisces. So some of you are dealing with a Pisces, and that person or you or both of you have been kind of like inadvertently tiptoeing around the truth or what was real, what was apparent. Like, again, it's like there's this connection, but nobody's like able to articulate what's going on. Nobody's able to put like a label on it. Nobody's ever able to say, oh yeah, I'm dating this person. And your friends are like, you know, your friends are like, hey, You keep seeing Jack. You and Jack a thing? And you're like, I don't know. And they're like, what are you talking about? You see Jack like all the time. You guys go out and you hang out and you go out for dinner. You go out for drinks. You go out to the movies. You do whatever. Jack hangs out in your house. You guys binge watch things on Netflix together. That's dating. And you're like, is it? Like, you're sitting there and, like, for some reason, the traditional criteria of what it means to date someone no longer applies to this situation. It's, like, complicated in some kind of way. And I think the majority of the complication came from previously when the moon card was upright. When in this particular case, I feel that the moon card was recently upright, and now it's turning to this reverse position. And when it was upright, lots of confusion, lots of illusion, lots of what's going on here? Is this really a date? You paid for my meal and my drinks. I guess this is a date, but nobody said it was a date. You and Jack never said, hey, let's go out on a date. It was, let's meet up. Let's hang out. Let's have drinks. That's all like innuendo for date, but the word date was never used. So to you and Jack, it was not a date. But to your friends and every other person who is aware of you and Jack hanging out, it's like, so you're dating, right? And you're like, I don't know, or I don't think so. But to everybody else, it was pretty obvious. But between you and Jack, it was like very muddied. It was very unclear, very cloudy. But the moon in reverse, that's gonna wash away. It's gonna be pushed away. The fog will be lifted. And you and Jack will be dating. Or at least be casually having feelings for each other. I don't know, but something about whatever's going on with this connection that you have with this particular person, something will be revealed about it. Some truth, some clarity will come out. And if you're dealing with a Pisces, God, I think in general, Pisces has been going through a lot of transformational energy. They've been going through a lot of self-reflective energy, and they've just been in their own little fishy heads, and they're soon going to come out of that. Come springtime, which is where we are, and we're getting into that middle part of spring, right? That's just what's going to happen. They're eventually coming out of their little, like, you know, and you can see it here in the card. I'll show it to you really quickly. In the upright, you see the fish there? That's the sign of Pisces, right? And you see how it's like two fish, and they're chasing themselves? That's what the Pisces does. Pisces will say, I'm doing this, and then they'll renege. I'm going to say that, and then they renege. Or they rethink it. They talk themselves out of a lot of things because they do this cyclical review of themselves, or this cyclical reevaluation, or this cyclical, sort of like a, like if you watch laundry like tumble in a washing machine or a dryer or whatever, you just see it. It's like a repeated pattern, but it's jumbled and it's murky. It's not clear. And Pisces lives in a state of not being clear a lot. Sorry, Pisces, if you're listening to this. I don't mean to offend you, but I'm just sort of trying to explain that when the moon card is upright, all that is present. When it's reversed, all that becomes revealed. All of that tumbled laundry, the washer has stopped, and you can pull out the individual pieces of clothing, and you can see what was going on in that wash. What were the elements that were being tumbled around? So the washer has stopped. Pull out the clothes. You can see, oh, we got a pair of socks. We've got a shirt. Got some pants here. Okay. We were doing a regular load of laundry, you know? That's a weird analogy, but that's basically what's going to happen in this week, okay? Move up to the top. We're going to talk about health and wellness, as well as the general overview for the week. This has been like a trouble area for like the past 2 to 3 weeks. And I think that we're going to see a break here. It's looking like a little bit of a break. Yay. A little bit of a break. All right, so we've got the page of, Prince of Wands, Two of Swords, and Two of Pentacles. The music has applauded me. And maybe the music is applauding you. Like I said, I think that there's this coming out of something. So, I want to say page. Prince of Wands. Hello. Look at that guy. He's so handsome. Like, I'm not a big fan of his hair, but, you know, that's all right. I'm definitely going to say that this guy is associated with Leo. He's got the lion there on his shield. He's got the symbol or the glyph of the Leo on his lapel there. And, I mean, look at his hair. You know what they say about Leos? Leos love their hair, or, like, they have distinguished hair. Like, they have noticeable hair. It's one of the things that they say about Leos. It's not always true. Because, I mean, if you're a bald Leo, what can you do? How can people notice you? Based on your hair, at least. Anyway, health and wellness, Prince of Wands. In general overview. So, the Prince of Wands would be relative to the Knight of Wands in the Rider-Waite deck. And in this one, like, in a lot of ways, like, this guy is striking me as, like, a hunter. Not necessarily that you, in your health and wellness, are going on, like, a safari hunt or something like that, or even, like, hunting deer or ducks or anything like that. But it's this idea of, again, like, goal setting, goal orientation, being like, I want this, how do I get that? Step by step by step by step, you kind of iron out a plan. That element is there, but again, this is feeling like sort of like an internal thing. It's not actually like setting goals, marking it on your calendar, tracking your progress through different apps on your phone or anything like that. In terms of health and wellness, I think it's more of like an awareness. Like this guy, because that's a part of hunting, right? You have to be aware of what you're hunting. You have to know you have to understand the movement and the behaviors and the patterns of the animal that you choose to hunt. So that's what this is. This is like getting the research done. Or now that you have the research done, sort of placing everything, like what I'm imagining, what I'm seeing is like, and this has nothing to do with hunting, this is more about like storyboarding. Like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that concept or that practice, but in movies or television shows or many other types of creative projects, you have like index cards or something that kind of, or in the case of like animation, little animation panels where you are sort of putting a jigsaw puzzle together. You want to tell this whole story, or you want to go from A to B. A being the opening, you know, credits of a movie, B being the end credits of a movie. And between those 2 points, you have to rearrange the elements in order to make a great plot, to make a great story, to tell a fantastic story. And that's kind of what the Prince of Wands is doing. I'm starting here in terms of health and wellness. So maybe for some of us, it's not necessarily that you want to lose weight, because that's a typical goal. But for some of us, let's say it was gaining weight. You know, Prince of Wands, he looks like a guy who would, you know, be like, I want to do MMA. So maybe some of you want to be like getting into MMA, but you don't have, right now, you don't have the discipline, you don't have the practical knowledge of martial arts. You don't have the body weight or body size that is needed for a certain weight class, so you need to figure out how to do that. So some of you are going to be like, okay, I got to start a gym routine. I got to start eating right. I have to start practicing jiu-jitsu, whatever it is. That's what the Prince of Wands is. Ooh, knock that all around. That's what the Prince of Wands is doing. He knows what he wants. He's done his research. I need 1, 2, 3. I need to eat right. I need to go to the gym. I need to practice the form of martial arts that I wanna compete in. And so now, how do you get started? Well, I think that, and again, I think I mentioned that this is like almost like a seedling. It's not an actual planting of an idea. This is like the initial stages of getting ready to. It's like the getting ready to. You know, I need to do 1, 2, 3. And Prince of Wands is aware of what those 1, 2, 3 things are that they need to do. But the Prince of Wands is also aware of what has held him back. I view the Two of Swords as what's been holding the Prince of Wands back. What's been the problem all along? And the problem all along was that the Prince of Wands, or you, or whoever this is resonating with, was just kind of like immobile. And maybe that's literally what was going on with some of you. Maybe some of you had injured your foot or injured a part of your body and you couldn't physically get out there and get involved in activities, but now you're able to. So someone was just like not moving physically. Others were not moving mentally, since we're talking about swords that would deal with mental capacities, right? Thinking, speaking, the way that you interact or communicate with other people. So some of you were just like stuck in your head, stuck in a loop, or totally ignoring what you needed to be thinking about. Some of you weren't making practical choices or thoughtful choices, mindful choices in terms of diet. Some of you were out there drinking too much, eating too much, not eating enough, not drinking enough as far as like healthy fluids such as water. I know plenty of people who are like, I hate water. And I'm like, well, you hate your body because you're mostly water, and you hate life because you can't live without it, right? So it's like, that's what was happening. And the Prince of Wands is very aware of that. He's looking directly at the Two of Wands, or excuse me, the Two of Swords. Further away is the Two of Pentacles. Now, this is interesting because Two of Pentacles in the traditional Rider-Waite is often interpreted as like a balancing act, like a, I don't know what to choose, kind of like a seesawing thing, because you see a guy and he's like sort of juggling two pentacles. He has the infinity symbol in between, so like that, there's this idea of hemming and hawing and going back and forth on a thought or a decision and like never really landing on anything. This one is definitely a more progressed than the traditional understanding of the Two of Pentacles. I think that this is someone who, they've thought about it. They've weighed out the options. They've overcome a lot of their own emotions, since there's this body of water in the background there. Water talks to us about what we feel deeply, or what and it's a pretty deep body of water, because as you go further out there's less waves, but as you come to the shore there are waves. So there's this idea of sort of progressing out of coming out of this deep feeling space, is how this is coming across, where not necessarily that you're feeling a lot of different emotions, but you could have just been sitting in like a deep emotion, like a deep vat of emotions, or one particular emotion. So this could have been like a depression or a sadness, or sort of like a deep melancholy. And then as you get closer to the shore, coming out of that, you might be, especially if this is like an internal thing, where you might have like negative self-talk or negative recurring thoughts in your mind that say, oh, you can't do it, you won't amount to anything, you'll fail, we can't do martial arts because we're too fat, we're too skinny, we're too old, in some cases we're too young, and people will say, why don't you just go to college, why would you do that? So there's like this idea of having to be true to oneself and really dive deep into your own truth, dive deep into your own understanding of who you are and what you want, and what will make you happy. I know this is a Pentacles card, but the presence of the water is significant. I think the Pentacles comes into play because as you emerge from this water, and this guy isn't like soaking wet or anything, but it looks like he's walked out of the water, right? And he's stepping onto dry land, and he's stepping carefully, like he's not just like coming in with authority, or he's not coming in with total self-assurance, but he's coming in and he's like, after evaluation, you just take that action, right? Because again, immobile, Prince of Wands would definitely be mobile. So, and I think this is sort of like that, this would pair well with the Prince of Wands. This is like that initial energy. This is like that initiate energy of, all right, I've decided this is what I'm going to do. And you kind of tiptoe your way towards doing it, you know. And I feel like this kind of tempers the Prince of Wands energy, that Two of Pentacles. It kind of gives a sort of balance to the Prince of Wands, because I think the Prince of Wands, like I said, he's plotting and he's hunting and he's kind of figuring out what he's going to do next. And then the Two of Pentacles is a practical energy. Pentacles dealing with things that have to deal with the earth and everything that you can touch, taste, see, and all of that. Things that you observe with your senses. Also deals with earth signs. So there's this marriage of intention, spirited intention, goal setting with actual practicality, actual taking of those steps. And there is that bit of emotion that you have to deal with the Two of Pentacles. There is there is the issue of your thoughts and what you've dealt with in the past in terms of the Two of Swords. And so there's just this progress. And like I said at the beginning, this sector for the past 2 or 3 weeks has been pretty stagnant. So there is this idea or this theme, or there's this onset of progress. Turning a tide, turning a corner. But it's just not explosive. It's not going to be, you know, with fireworks or with great, not reception, but, you know, there's no, like, result here yet because it hasn't really started. So you can't really have results if you haven't really started. If you're just revving the engine at, like, at a race, you know, it's like you're at the starting line, your engine is revving and you're vroom, 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 like you're doing that, you haven't started the race yet. So the race hasn't really started yet. And that's okay. Because again, this is like a feeling of progression and determination with the Prince of Wands. Like, win or lose, the Prince of Wands wants to do it. The only thing that he has to overcome is himself, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and get an oracle card for the week. And this is from the Goddess Guidance deck by Doreen Virtue. And I just want to get reestablished with the energy for the week. There we go. This one flipped. Do we want it? It didn't come out. No, we don't want it. Okay. Energy for the week of April 30th through May 4th. Okay. Sideways. This guy? Yes, okay. Boom. Ein? I should really, like, get that book. Because it gives you, like, a nice... it gives you, like, a clear way of how to enunciate these names. Ein or Ein? Leap of faith. Hold on. Boom. Magic. And it says, take a risk and put your heart's true desire into action. That may have come out last week. Maybe. Can't really remember. So yeah, I think that here, I don't necessarily think that in the finances sector, it's about leap of faith or anything like that. I think it might just be to retain your faith, to retain your passion and your gumption and your intention. Here, definitely in the love and romance, yes, leap of faith. And take that risk, you know, be bold and ask Jack if you're dating, you know, things like that. And definitely in the health and wellness sector, the leap of faith would apply. You have to take that risk. You kind of have to overcome your own internal struggles and your own internal dialogues and really put that to the side, or kind of understand that it's a inhibitor to what you want to do. And in order to get over that inhibition, you have to push forth with faith, and you have to take those risks. Okay? All right, guys, that's going to be the weekly reading. I thank you so much for watching. Do like and comment and share the video. Do all that lovely stuff if you are compelled to. Feel free to subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel. That would be awesome. And again, go ahead and check that description box below for information on private readings. You can also find it on my About page. Again, I thank you so much for watching, and I will speak to you again next week. Bye.